story is so crazy. When I first saw it, okay, he gets caught basically soliciting a minor for sex. And he gets arrested, and then he gets immediately released. Immediately. This is a crime.
Yeah, I'm shocked he even got bond. That's fucking crazy. He got bond, dude.
That the punishment is up to 10 years in prison. He gets arrested, he is immediately released. An Israeli government cybersecurity official was reportedly arrested recently by Las Vegas police and other authorities in Nevada who were conducting an undercover investigation aimed at online users seeking to sexually prey on children. Tom Artyom Alexandrovich, 38 years old, faces felony charges of luring a child with a computer for a sex act alongside several other suspects who were apprehended during the 2-week sting operation. The Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department said in a statement published on Friday, he has since been released from custody on $10,000 bail after an initial court appearance, records show, and returned to...
So it looks like it was a task force. And guys, there's a lot of these task forces all across the country, these, child exploitation task forces with the feds and the state and locals. So it looks like they picked him up on state charges. And that's why he got a bond. Federal court, he would have never got a bond. This is wild.
Israel. As first reported by the news site Mediaite, a publicly posted screenshot of Alexandrovich's page on the LinkedIn professional networking platform described him as the executive director of the Israel Cyber Directorate, an Israeli government agency under the purview of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office. Other information online attributes the same position to Alexandrovich. So Netanyahu comes out and releases a statement. He goes, a little something happened, but he came back to Israel. No big deal. Look the other way. And he makes it seem like, no, he wasn't even arrested, bro. He just had a thing, and now he's here, and it's fine. And I didn't intervene at all in any way, shape, or form. But in reality, he was arrested. We know.
And guys, the reason why this is a big deal is because Israel has something called the right of return, right?
So this story,
let me show you guys this real quick. So this is actually a way a lot of guys run to Israel based off this thing. So the law of return enacted by Israel in 1950 grants Jews worldwide the right to immigrate to Israel and automatically acquire citizenship. This law is a cornerstone of Israeli immigration policy and reflects the country's foundational commitment to being a homeland for the Jewish people. It's been a significant factor in Jewish immigration in Israel, particularly for those escaping persecution or seeking to relocate. Also, what they should add to this is for escaping prosecution as well. However, the law sparked debate, particularly concerning the definition of Jew and its implications of non-Jewish populations, especially Palestinians who were displaced during the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. So this was created originally, right, to create like a safe haven, but a lot of people, right, use it to avoid justice. All right, and this is notoriously been used by Israeli sex traffickers. Here, let me keep playing this, and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about.
He was arrested. We have a bunch of people who can attest to that fact. And, of course, now the speculation is not only did Netanyahu intervene, but you also had the Trump regime intervene as well. That's the speculation. Now, you have some people saying that that's been proven, but the source is a little sketchy to this point. But then again, I mean, logical deduction, it seems like somebody at the high level in the U.S. government would have had to intervene, right? In a similar way to how Jeffrey Epstein got his little fucking sweetheart deal. Now you have stupid caught red fucking handed, but since he works directly underneath Netanyahu, they go, let get away with it. So let me understand this right. An Israeli can come into our country and try to diddle little American kids and then gets to go free, no problem whatsoever. And we're supposed to be okay with that.
Happens all the time, bro. You must be new here. I've known about this for years. So check this out, guys. CBS News did a really good thing on this a couple years back.
To escape justice.
This has been going on for a long time, chat.
A CBS News investigation.
And I've known this because I work in law enforcement. Getting somebody extradited from Israel is damn near impossible, bro.
Has uncovered a loophole that allows accused and convicted Americans to escape justice by moving to Israel. So Ian Lee has been following this for more than a year, and he traveled to Israel for this investigation. He worked with a group that tracks people accused of sex crimes, which estimates dozens of Americans have used this loophole.
So, he's 6'2".
We are on a stakeout looking for this man, Jimmy Julius Caro, 48 years old and wanted on charges of sexually assaulting a 9-year-old girl in Oregon back in 2000 and a 5-year-old girl in Israel in 2001. He's considered dangerous. But these photos are a few years old, so we don't know if he'll look the same. He remains elusive. Previous attempts to capture him have failed.
Obviously, the fear that he would somehow figure out that anyone's looking for him and bolt. He just called his number.
Shauna Aronson got a tip that Caro's expected at this clinic near Tel Aviv.
Who's going to call the
She's
police
with JCW, Jewish Community Watch, an organization that hunts down accused who flee to Israel from the U.S., exploiting.
Yeah, it's guys, it's way more common than people think. It's just that no one talked about it because there was no need. It was like kind of like a dark little secret that nobody knew about.
A process called Law of Return, whereby any Jewish person can move to Israel and automatically gain citizenship.
The ease with which able to use this law as an escape.
And the reason why they also say it is they'll be like, oh, they're unfairly trying me, for being a country. So that's a big reason, too, why they don't send them back. Because they look at it like, yo, they're coming, I'm being persecuted from this country. They're trying to call me a predator, blah, blah, blah. That's why I'm here. And they let them in. And it's very difficult to get them back, chat. Very difficult to get them extradited back to the United States or any country for that matter. Because this law was specifically created to protect them from persecution, right? So even the people, because let's be honest, there are people that are falsely accused, of course. There's always people that are going to be falsely accused. We know this. But even people that are guilty use this loophole to their advantage to flee from justice. And that's kind of how we ended up with this guy, Romanovich or whatever the fuck his name is.
When it was one Jew that did it. The documentary was exposing something that's systemic, all right, which is very problematic. And this is why I've always said Israel isn't just a threat to the world. It's a threat to America. It's a national citizen, but we're paying first-class citizen tax dollars. So with this case right here, I'm glad that it's being exposed. Israel worked with a cybersecurity squad with the government. Think about that. Think about the corruption here. Think about how corrupt our government is, and people wonder why the Epstein files hasn't been exposed. There's a reason the Epstein file hasn't been exposed, because all these politicians are part of the plan. All these politicians work with these cybersecurity, so-called cybersecurity. This is who's ahead of our cybersecurity, child molesters and. So I see Myron Gaines on stage, though. Huge shout out to Myron. I definitely want to give him room and space to speak. I have a lot more to say. Big time shout out to him, guys. Make sure you repost the space.
So in terms of this case, do you know the entirety of the case, right?
Yeah, I'm very familiar. He basically got caught in a sting with a task force from the feds in the state.
Exactly. And then what happened was as you said, he flew to Israel. But it's very complex, a lot of the factors that went into it. So the sting operation basically had a number of different departments involved. It had the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, it had the FBI, it had Homeland Security, it had the Las Vegas Police Department, and the Nevada AG. So let me give you a bit more background on it, Myron, because we found out a huge amount of information related to it. I think this is huge. This is probably bigger than anything we've had in the last few years, because this guy isn't just a child pedophile, which is horrific in itself. This guy wasn't just arrested and let go, even though he was a flight risk. But this is a guy who is involved. He's in Netanyahu's government. He's the head of the cybersecurity in their government. He said that he essentially was in charge of removing content on the entirety of social media, and they had a 90% success rate. So it meant anything on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, X. If they found it problematic to the Israeli government, they put a request in and 90% of that content was taken down. Now, what makes it even more worse is that Sean King, who exposed this initially, and then I obviously exposed it after that with him, he basically said that his original tweets that exposed this were deleted. And so what that means is, and he said that it was deleted by a government. Now, we don't know if it's by the Israeli government or the US government, but as you know, with the US government, they had the whole drama about the US government censoring people based on the Twitter files. And Trump did an executive order saying they're no longer going to do it again. So if they're still doing it, that's highly problematic, and it's as bad as what it was before. And the right wing used to complain about this, but now we're seeing it happening by the Israelis. Or it's done by the Israeli government, which makes it even worse because this is a foreign government, a foreign nation censoring. So there's a lot more implications to it. This is literally a Mossad agent working with Netanyahu, going to Las Vegas, rape, basically taking part in child sex trafficking or child sex exploitation, and being sent back. So I just wanted you to understand the gravity of like what this was all about. Now, I guess the question I've got for you is, based on what I'm saying, and based on the fact that this guy was a flight risk, people from the office apparently found it shocking that this guy was given such a small bail of $10,000 because he just paid it and then flee to Israel. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. They should have taken his passport to give him only $10,000 bond. Again, this went through the state, if I'm not mistaken, which, the state is not. The thing with the state is that they get hundreds of, and especially somewhere like this where it's very popular and people get arrested all the time in the Vegas area, because you got a lot of people that come in and do dumb shit. They drink, they disorderly conduct, drug use, all this shit. They get arrested all the time. People come to Vegas and do dumb shit. So, obviously it's a huge docket and people getting arrested every single day. But the fact that they let this slip through their fingers or allowed it to slip through is completely irresponsible and stupid. And I mean, one of the first things you do when you find out that someone has a dual citizenship or might carry a second passport is you take their passports. They probably didn't even know that he was an Israeli because we all know a lot of Jews look Caucasian, and they might not disclose that they're an Israeli. You'll think, oh, he's just a Jewish guy or whatever, but they won't know that they have an Israeli passport as well. Or even if he didn't have an Israeli passport, hell, he could have went over there on an American passport and they would let him in because the Jewish right of return. So, complete blunder, big fuck up here. I see your perspective where you're saying like, hey, it could be more nefarious, which I'm not excluding that either. It absolutely can. This guy might be in a position where he has a lot of sensitive information. He has a lot of classified information that could, for the Israeli government. And, they might not want him in custody where he can go ahead and provide some of that information to American law enforcement, which would fuck them up. So there's a bunch of reasons why this could have happened. But yeah, huge fucking blunder from both the state and the feds on this one to not get this guy his passport taken away and allow him. Because I'll tell you all this, even if they do, let's say they do go ahead and federally indict him later on, it's going to be very difficult to get him back. Extraditing Israeli citizens is very, very fucking difficult because of that law of right of return.